Todd Wildman is in San Francisco, and the rest of our panel to discuss what we should be watching from the company. Roger, first to you. What stands out as the first thing you're going to look for?
Well, you know, we've got the possibility of having a $20 billion quarter, David, and I think that's going to be a benchmark. There's also a wide range of EPS expectations, basically between $4 and $5. In the past, some of the pundits who aren't strictly Wall Street types have actually done better at calling the numbers. I think the street is a little conservative. They're afraid to go way out on a limb, even though Apple keeps beating quarter after quarter. Everyone's expecting a beat. Almost no one expects Apple's guidance or anywhere near it. It's going to be much above that. The question is how much, and there's a lot of variability in the earnings estimates.
Yeah, Liz Klayman, Roger makes a good point. Apple, usually very conservative. $18.9 billion is the expectation for the top line from Wall Street. But Liz, you know what interesting now? Wall Streeters are saying, and you've been reporting about Apple all day, that you should load in the iPad, load in the tablet sales, and if you do that, Apple would be the #1 computer seller in the world.
I don't know why anybody listens to this company and believes what they say when it comes to earnings. They always underpromise and then overdeliver. Liz, you're exactly right. I was talking to the eBay guys here. They are going gangbusters on their iPad app. They are firm believers in iPad. They think a lot of people are going to be getting this and really kind of jettisoning their PCs, their Macs. But it's interesting because, no, it's had a halo effect. Roger could probably expound upon this. It's had a halo effect for the iPad to bring in people who then say, oh, I want a Macintosh too. Apple just keeps going forward and higher.
Well, I want to ask Todd Wildman if people have already factored that into the price of the stock. Is that what the traders are doing, Todd?
Maybe a little bit, at least in the option market, but I think what people are thinking about, just going up, what Liz said was cannibalization. Is any of their products cannibalizing another product line? And it doesn't. It basically expands their customer base, which is great. And so I think all the traders want to hear what their expectation for Christmas. Obviously, they're going to lowball it, and obviously the street loves that.
Yeah, I'll tell you something, Gary B. The book value for Apple is just around $36 billion, but the market value is over $260. We're going to take a Shibani Joshi. Take it away, Shibani.
Okay, so it looks like Apple is coming in with a very strong beat on the top line, $4.64 a share. That's almost 40 cents higher, actually 60 cents higher, almost, in terms of what the street was looking for. $4.64. Revenue also tremendous beat, $20.3 billion. The street was looking for 18.93 billion. Couple of the other estimates worth noting. The street was looking for iPad sales anywhere between 4.5 and 5 million. The company came in at 4.19 million, so right in range with iPad sales. iPhone sales really knocked it out of the ballpark. 11 to 12 million is what the street was looking for. The company sold 14 million iPhones in the last quarter. So again, Apple just knocking it out of the ballpark. The stock was halted as of 4:28 Eastern time. We'll see if the stock resumes trading, but again, a beat at the high end, the low end, and as far as iPhone sales, also knocking out of the ballpark.
It is still halted right now. It may change at any second, but at least on a couple of things, Roger K., on that iPhone, what surprises me is how, despite all the problems with the carrier, with AT&T, people are still buying the thing.
It's a great product, you know. I mean, really. One prediction I think is fair to make is that the stock will resume trading.
At some point in the near future, yes.
As soon as they get the imbalance figured out, they'll bring it on again. But I think, you know, we have to distinguish between two things. You know, one is the trading of Apple stock and how it reacts to the beat. Was it enough of a beat? Hey, there were some estimates that were up at $5. They didn't quite meet those. So Apple is beginning to fall within the ranges that people are predicting, even if people just add 30% to whatever the estimate was and go with that. So at some point, they can't outrun the expectation because they just can't turn into the sun. So that's one problem. But on the other side, there's the real sea change, which is taking place in that Apple is becoming a big infrastructure company. It's not just a little almost irrelevant, consumer electronics company selling to artists and students. It's now this big behemoth with a tremendous ecosystem, and this is a real change in the nature of the computer industry. And I think that's what the long-term price of this stock is about. It's about the realization that the market is having. This isn't just, you know, your grandpa's Apple anymore. This is a whole new company.
You know, I'll tell you, Gary B., here's the thing. You know, we were just trying to talk to you before we went to the earnings here, and this is what Wall Street's talking about. In other words, the book value of the company is only around $36 billion, but the market cap's around $262 billion and may take over ExxonMobil. Is Apple punching above its weight? Is it outrunning itself right now, given where its stock price is at and its market cap is at?
I don't think so. One observation, by the way, the Qs are trading, not a direct proxy for Apple, but they're down fairly good in the after hours, so that may portend where Apple starts trading. But in answer to your question, kind of punching above their weight, you know, I was just looking at some, just stock-wise, you know, you'd think the stock is overbought at this point. It's up 31% from the August lows and up 285% from the 09 lows. But in 03 to 08, this stock was up 2,600%. I think if they keep coming out, I mean, first it was the iPod. Wait, did I get that right? The iPod, that's the music. It's so long ago. Yeah. Then the iPhone, then the iPad. You know, they just keep stringing these hits together kind of incredibly. And as Todd Wildman pointed out, they don't do a lot of cannibalizing. I think you could see another huge run for this stock.
James, what does this tell you about the demand? We were always hearing that the problem with the economy is people aren't buying enough. Well, they're clearly buying enough Apple.
Yeah, the technology demand is there. You've seen it from corporate customers, and obviously Apple has a big consumer following. It's a strange economy right now. You have all these big public companies, especially, very healthy, growing their profits, sitting on a lot of cash, and yet we still have this 9.6% unemployment, slow growth, and for people without a college degree, it's almost a depression right now. Unemployment rate much higher. So I think all of this good news on the markets and from the technology industry eventually will lead to good news for everybody if Washington gets out of the way and people have the incentive to take more risks.
You know, Nancy, James brings up cash, and Liz Clayman's been reporting it all day. You know, look at Apple. Between Apple and Google, they both have about $75 billion in cash on the balance sheet. What's going to make those companies deploy that cash in the U.S. economy?
When they think they can make a buck on that. So, but I got to be a contrarian. Imagine that on Apple. Okay, so they've got the iPhone. You know, I'm a BlackBerry person. It's a little bit like having to change your sexual orientation to go from a Mac to a PC. Okay, so just because you like the iPhone,
and I don't think you can change it.
I'm sorry. And you have the Android coming right up on it with great sales. You have, you know, BlackBerry now is introducing new apps that the iPhone has. So I mean, I think, and I would look for in this huge world. I just heard about a company called FlipSwap. So they take your phone, pay you for your old phone, and then sell that to someone in the developing world. Those are the kinds of things that I think are going to be, you know, with all this technology coming out.
Nancy.
Well, hold on a second.
I'm a crack. That's
RIM,
what I
by the way,
am.
is down a little bit today, but I want to go to Liz Clayman for a second. Liz, what are they making bets? Does one success or spectacular success in the case of Apple mean the other one's demise, or can they both rise?
Well, you're watching RIM fight very hard. I mean, I think their fingers are bloodied over there, really trying to come up with bigger and better ideas or smaller and better ideas for the BlackBerry. I'm with Nancy. I am a BlackBerry user. I'm having trouble with the keyboard of everything. I do have an iPad. I'm trying to learn. But it is interesting to see if you can get those last holdouts like Nancy and myself to come on board, then RIM is in trouble if that is the case. But I just think that BlackBerry is so looked upon as sort of that opportunity in the workplace that I was sitting next to 5 people on the airplane coming out here that were all on BlackBerry. So I think that this is an opportunity for both companies to really show what they've got. It is going to be a big battle, but Liz McDonald is not wrong. That nearly $46 billion in cash on the balance sheet, either going to work or you're going to start to hear shareholders say, give me a dividend. I mean, some people are really asking for that.
Separate from that, Citigroup announcing they may push a dividend out in 2012. Sharbani Joshi, you got more breaking news.
Yeah, I've got the full release here, and you were talking about Research in Motion. Steve Jobs putting a quote in the quarterly report actually referring Motion, saying that iPhone sales of 14.1 million were up 91% year over year, handily beating the 12.1 million phones Research in Motion sold in their most recent quarter. Again, pointing to Research in Motion in a direct quote. He also says, we still have a few surprises left for the remainder of this calendar year. Keep in mind, they have a big Mac event on Wednesday. One weak point that I did notice, gross margins were 36.9% compared to 41% 31.8% in the year-ago quarter, suggesting some pricing pressure there. That's just one thing to sort of digest on overnight.
Roger K., do you have any idea what those surprises that Apple was forecasting are?
Yeah, well, no, those were. Oh, you mean the surprises
What's
that are
coming up
No,
at the
they
Mac
typically don't
conference
come.
and the other
Yeah.
doodads that they might have?
New Macs and new other stuff that we don't know yet about.
More battery strength, I think, Liz Claman, right? What are you hearing coming out of Apple at the conference coming up, Liz? You hearing anything out there?
Well, no, but when you talk about battery strength, this is a huge issue, and everybody's looking to maximize that. And so there are all kinds of startups coming out here in the Valley. We talked to one today, Nanosys. It's a nanotechnology company working very hard to lighten battery loads. Batteries are very heavy, and of course, everybody wants to talk about that. Tomorrow, we've got Paul Otellini of Intel, who has put chips in some Apple products, but there are big bets going on all over the place to make it smaller and faster, yet lighter, tinier. They need it smaller so that these products can get smaller and more lightweight.
Well, I'll tell you what's
Maybe
not.
they're going to
Well, go
power
ahead.
some cars. The Apple electric vehicle. That's the big surprise. To compete with the Volt. That's what they've done.
Apple Electric.
Liz Claman mentioned lightweights, gang. Guess who's not a bunch of lightweights today? Who made money today?